It hadn't showed on the scoreboard or anything, but I mean, we've gotten a lot better since last year. We've just been having fun, and I mean, you see it to come. The year ain't over yet, so we still got a couple more games to finish out.
Unfortunately, Davion went down with the ankle injury, I guess, but it opened the door for you. Just talk about the opportunity to return kicks.
I mean, I've always liked to return kicks, and it hurt us that Davion went down, but I told him that I had his back, about like I did with Dion at the punt return. So I just go out there and do what I can to help him out and help the team out.
You catch punts and kickoffs a little differently than everybody with your hands up in the air. Is that just, I mean, I know you got big hands, but is that part of it? Or
I mean,
I've seen the Auburn players kind of, when you were doing it, they were like, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just how I've always did it since Pee Wee football, actually. So it's just a habit.
Does anybody ever bring it up to you, the coaches or other players or anybody?
No, sir. I mean, everybody here is used to it, so just go about it. As long as I get the job done.
Coach Moore said John Steven and KJ would get to work at quarterback. What's the team reaction to that?
I mean, we're happy for him, you know. So, I mean, we go out there just like if it was Ben or Nick and play our butts off for him. I mean, it's really, we practice with John Steven and KJ every day, even though they didn't start back then. So, I mean, it's nothing new to us.
You've been doing some split back work after runs last week. What's it like kind of branching out? And can you play quarterback?
I mean, if they put me back there, you know, I'd do whatever for the team. But playing the split back position, I mean, it's fun. I like going downhill at the other team, you know, so I'm a contact type of guy.
What would it mean for you to help get these seniors a win on senior day?
I mean, it wouldn't just mean so much for me, you know. I mean, for them, you know, just for them because it's their last time putting that helmet on in this stadium. So, I mean, it's always good to play your hardest for the seniors. I mean, a win for them would be just great. So.
Oh, yeah, a way to say thank you for how much that they've helped you this year.
Yeah, because they've played their heart out for us. So we're going to do the same this Saturday.
It's a little bit heartbreaking for us. I know you grew up in the state. I always wanted to be a Razorback, and then, you know, to have this season go the way it has, it's got to be a little bit of a...
I mean, it's really not. I mean, we knew coming in.
Welcome in. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Wednesday edition of OTH here on KDSJ 479. And really want to welcome everyone to our great edition of OTH. And want to give a shout out to our sponsors real quick. I want to give a shout out to Lindsay and Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken for their great sponsorship of our weekly broadcast from 1 to 2 p.m. here on KDSA 479. And we came in with audio from true freshman wide receiver sensation Traylon Burks. Talked about this upcoming ball game with the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Also, too, talked about, you know, just the season as a whole. Feels like they are getting better. And I want to bring in my co-host here real quick and really want to make everyone aware our next segment will be an open call segment. You all will get a chance to touch base with us here on our show on the Hill at 479-601-7400, or you can also hit us up on our YouTube Live or our Facebook live stream. That's how you reach out and keep a hold of us each and every day. You can do so in that capacity as well. But I want to go over to my man. What's the storyline, Demetrius, heading into Saturday? Ty story coming in. What's your storyline? Is it more so Ty story, or is it more so must-win situation? Or, I mean, what will be the storyline? Will it be KJ? I think this final game in Fayetteville got a lot going on, don't you think?
Yeah, you know, I really look at the storyline is Ty Story versus Chad Morris. With Ty coming in, then Chad Morris saying he really didn't have the tangibles needed to run the offense, so he brings in two transfers. He transfers out. Now he gets a chance to come in on senior day,
Right.
to upset Arkansas. And, Arkansas is not playing well right now, so I can't even choose Arkansas to win when you ask me this Friday who's going to win this game, because I think Ty Story really feeling himself. I feel like he's trending upward. His team is playing pretty decent right now, and Arkansas really hasn't showed me they can stop anyone on the defensive side of the ball or
Right.
put points in the end zone from an offensive perspective.
Really good points. I think my storyline will be really the defense. Will some of these seniors go out and play with a certain type of aggressiveness that hadn't been seen very much? But also, too, will this football team go out and play with a certain aggression? Demetrius, is what I want to say. I think will this coaching staff start to coach with certain aggression? Because I'm gonna be blatantly honest, and let's just call it like we see it, because that's what you guys expect us to do. Not enough emotion, not enough butt chewing, not enough kicks in the butt when things aren't getting done right to a certain level of physicality, execution wise. And I'm not saying go out and just punch on the kids, but I'm talking about chew some butt. Put some fear in some of the kids, and what I mean by fear is that they respect you enough to not let you down. And they know if you're gonna love them, but when they come to that sideline, things aren't done to a certain standard, which we keep talking about. This standard is best. Well, that's what it has to be: best effort, best physicality, best execution. Everything got to be the best if that's what you're trying to sell. I think that's what people are having the biggest problem. Don't say something and then you're not out there really, getting it done. At halftime, you know what I would have done at halftime on Saturday? Because that's just me, and I'm a passionate coach. Nobody would have had anything to drink, because I would have found every cooler and went old school.
What I will say, the bright side of that is, we had a recruit mention that he went in the locker room, and even though they lost, it was the younger guys that were still trying to, egg the team on, trying to get that energy back, trying to get that vibe back, trying to have that winning mentality.
Right.
So I think the good thing is that you can call this year a purging year. After this year, if Chad does get that one more year, which I think he's going to get one more year, he's going to have to make some tough decisions at the end of the year, kind of end some friendships, and understand that this is a business, and he has to go get the pieces necessary to make your business run as such. And I think, this was one of the fears that I had for Chad, that I kept saying, man, he had to play to win and win some games this year to take some pressure off of next year, because I knew next year would be a must-win season. And I think, although Chad's his record doesn't reflect like the fans would like, I think the attributions that Chad has brung the University of Arkansas has definitely brung us out of a muck that was left with Brett Bielema, and not even Brett Bielema, really Petrino.
Right.
So I do hope Chad understands he has to make some tough decisions and is able to make those decisions, because I think he has the potential, but he has to go get people that aren't yes men. He has to go get people, even from a coaching standpoint, that'll argue with him when they feel like they have a better solution. And I'm not saying argue with your boss all the time, but you have to have people that bring another idea to the table that you wouldn't think of, especially in football, because you have to have the ability to adjust and adapt. And I think that's the ability Chad doesn't have right now with the current staff. They don't know how to make adjustments. They don't know how to adapt. They really don't know the personnel. So I think they have to go get a younger crowd to kind of bring that youth movement along and understand these are older coaches, and get younger guys that can kind of get with the times and understand the way these younger guys play football.
I agree to a certain degree, but I have to give this staff a little credit in that they, this freshman class, and I've said it, and many have said it across the country and throughout the SEC and local media outlets who cover the Razorbacks alone, now outside of myself, is that this is a special group, and this group of men here as the Arkansas staff were the large reason that this class has arrived in Fayetteville with the potential to really change the program. I do think Chad's going to have to really, and I agree with you, my man, make some tough decisions. I think there's going to be some. This is SEC football. SEC football has no love lost. It's a cutthroat business, both in recruiting and in coaching. And at the end of the day, it's about who's producing, which staff's going to produce at the highest level. And if you can't perform just like an 11-man defensive squad or offensive squad or anything in the special teams, if you don't have 9, an entire staff that can perform at a high level, does not matter. You won't make it. So I think there are going to have to be probably some staff changes. I think there's certain staff members that have done a big-time job and will continue to do so. That's why I feel like, in my humble opinion, I think Chad will get one more year, but I think it's to see what can this year's freshman group of kids, how will they perform in year 3? Because at the end of the day, you want to continue to see hope. Now, if you can't see any progress, because I've always been told you get better from your freshman to sophomore year. So if this sophomore, soon to be this freshman class turns sophomore class in 2020 can't win you at least 6 games to get you bowling, and then there's no other way but to find someone that can motivate this group of young men. I mean, there is talent over there. It's just not enough of talent. And I think the large majority of the talent that these fans are so excited about are Chad Morris and his staff's kids. That's what makes it so hard to say that's just ousting, in my opinion, after year 2.
But excuse me, Pat. If you look at the schedule, it's not in his favor going forward. I mean, if you really look at where the team is at, even if I know we have a special group of freshmen, but when you look at, we got to go play Texas at Texas. We're gonna add Notre Dame to the schedule. Do you happen to have that 20?
Yeah, Arkansas has they have. I don't know if I have the 20 schedule. We'll get that looked up and get that information. But I know second game, game 2 next year, they are at South Bend.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, he's in a tough predicament, and he's put a lot of pressure on these freshmen.
Yeah, because I think 20 and 21 schedules are going to be crazy tough.
Absolutely.
Crazy tough.
Absolutely. And then I look at it. I think the only way he can ease some of that pressure is he wins this Western Kentucky game. He plays a good game against LSU after they play Alabama this week. Mm-hmm. And then you come around and beat Missouri. Those are
I think 4-8. I think it's a fan base now. Maybe not, to what the expectation they want, but I think 2 games shows improvement. They just want to see some improvement. I mean, nobody wants to go 2-10 back-to-back years. We go 2-10, then 4-8. That's a 2-game increase. I know the season's ugly, but when you go back and look at it, 2-game improvement, 2-4. That is a plus in my estimation as far as what I do the math. But I think next year is going to be the most important year for Coach Mo going forward, without question. It's bowl game or bust, in my opinion. I don't know how, if they don't win at least 6 games and are bowl eligible next year, I just don't know how you keep them. I just don't know.
But Pat, that's what I'm saying. The teams that we lost to this year are only going to get better next year. Even when you look at LSU, look at the recruits that they have. Look at the recruiting class they have.
Right.
Alabama, look at the recruiting class they have. Even when you look at Ole Miss, they're finally getting that dirt off them with the band where they're starting to get recruits interested, and they're getting those top. They got the freshman linebacker that played excellent this year. Is probably going to make first team All-American for the freshman team, or SEC All-American for the freshman team. So there's pieces that are not really in Chad's favor to have all this pressure on him going into year 3.
Well, we caught up with starting quarterback John Stephen Jones in yesterday's evening media availability that we get with all the football your football team each and every week, and we're going to let you hear what John Stephen has to say to kind of give you a little insight as to his preparation for Western Kentucky, what went into him being the starter, and also to KJ Jefferson. And then we're going to open up the phone lines. You can get a hold of us. You can talk to me and Demetrius, or you start sending us questions. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. let's get it.
Those guys, Trey Knox, Mike Woods, those guys who are taking 1 reps.
It's nice. It's really nice to get in rhythm with them. I've been throwing with them all summer. I threw with them throughout fall camp, so it's nice to get back in that rhythm.
What did today look like for you?
Today was nice. Just get out there. Weather was great. Football weather's coming back, and get out there and play some football and get a lot of reps. It's a lot of fun.
Senior Day, what would it mean to you to help lead this team to a much-needed win, but more specifically on Senior Day at home?
These seniors have been great to me. They've been great for this football team. So we all owe it to them. This is the last time they'll put on a helmet in that stadium. So to go out there and get a win would mean a lot to them and a lot to me too.
There were times in camp where Chad would come in and tell us that you were leading the team as well as anybody, and you waited kind of patiently on the bench. What were those weeks like?
Just going into every week like there's a chance you're going to play. Because when you get thrown in, you never know what it's going to be, and you just got to be ready.
I think Ty Story said he reached out to you after the TD pass at Bama. What's it been like going back and forth with the guy you're about to match up against?
Yeah, he shot me a text after Alabama, told me congratulations on my first career touchdown pass. Me and Ty are really good friends, so it's going to be fun to see him on Saturday.
Connor say something to you as well.
Connor Norton?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my roommate, so unfortunately we
But I
have to
mean,
talk
did
every
he
day.
talk to you quite a bit about that though?
Sorry?
His dad was tweeting about it and stuff. Did Connor say quite a bit?
Yeah, no, Connor's one of my best friends. I live with him, so we have a lot of camaraderie there.
What have you seen?
Adjustment going from Holly Park to college ball and just getting used to things?
Speed, of course. Like a lot of players can be a lot faster. They're just getting used to that speed, but once you get down, it's not too bad.
What about KJ? How is he feeling, and what have you seen from him? Have you seen him maybe step up his game a little bit this week?
Yes, KJ's incredible. He's learned a lot, and he's learned a lot fast. He's a freshman. He comes in, he asks a lot of questions in our meetings, and he's really grown as far as I've seen him, and I'm excited to see him play again on Saturday.
Saturday, it felt like the fans were kind of ready to see you and KJ come in. Got the cheers. Did you hear that? What do you think of the reaction?
I'm just focused on the game. I'm not really worried about the fans, about their opinions on the quarterback situation.
What about your grandfather, Jerry Jones? What did he say to you about you getting the start?
He's just excited. His family, we love each other to death, so I'm sure he's excited.
Thanks, John.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's On Here with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479. And that was audio from redshirt freshman starting quarterback John Stephen Jones, going to be making his first start of his collegiate football career. And, I still think it's a good decision. I know I'm one of those things. I think KJ Hill is the future of the University of Arkansas, but I think KJ Jefferson, I should say, not KJ Hill, KJ Jefferson. KJ Hill is doing quite well for the Ohio State Buckeyes and representing the state of Arkansas quite well. But I've always said KJ Jefferson is, in my opinion, the guy that's going to be, the quarterback for the future, without any doubt, based on what I was able to see this Saturday, the remaining 11 minutes of that ball game. I don't care. There were some starters out there. They might not have been all 11 starters from Mississippi State, but to see a true freshman go in a ball game, there's a lot surrounding that situation. He's expected to do well. If he doesn't, his coach is going to have even more pressure than he's already under. The season is not going to the degree that a lot of people thought. I mean, when he went out there, the young man's maturity level is what stood out to me. I mean, 4 plays, 75 yards. Yeah, that's what people see. But what I saw was a young man that had nothing but total control and confidence, and had it, instilled. All 10 of the other guys knew, Demetrius, that KJ was going to make a play, and it was going to be a positive play, and it was going to be the right play. And that's what I saw. I saw a young man that was really, really ready for the moment. And it could have come at the beginning, but when it came, he was ready for it. And that's what, that's what I'm so excited about, the future of this program. Because if you don't have a good quarterback, a game-changing quarterback, doesn't matter what you have in any of the other positions, it's going to always handcuff your football team now and forever. I mean, and that's at all levels, not just like in the collegiate level.
And to me, what made seeing KJ special was the little things that you want to see from a guy that's going to lead your team. When I see a quarterback, I want a guy that's not scared to make plays, and when he makes those plays, he has that energy that ignites the team. You know, KJ went in there and chucked the safety and got up, jumped around, and did a little celebration. You want that from your quarterback. You want your quarterback to be that guy that at any given time he can ignite the team. And I think KJ, that spark that Chad Morris has been talking about this whole time, he's had sitting right in his back pocket. And that's what I meant by Chad has to understand he's going to have to make some tough decisions, because I had a comment from Mr. Terry Roy. He said if KJ had started the season, Arkansas would be bowl eligible by now, and I firmly believe that. I do believe if you throw him in that Ole Miss game at the beginning where the game is close, even just a few packages, I felt like he would have brought a different spark, because I think he can do everything Nick Starkel can do and plus more.
I think the only thing I think KJ is going to have, he has some few mechanical things in his throwing motion. But I think that's all stuff you can work out. Do I say, or am I one of those that maybe he should have played? Absolutely. I was on board with thinking that, possibly having those two older quarterbacks, and that in the beginning from the eye test, you could see Nick. But once you start getting into game situations, real game situations, you really saw a lot of the deficiencies that both of these quarterbacks possessed. And, that's where I thought maybe around the Kentucky game when you had the off week, following the A&M game, you insert KJ and John Stephen. I thought if you're Chad, I think that's where the biggest mistake of the whole season happened, was not having those two guys go out there with what was a receiver 2 weeks prior for their opposing quarterback on defense. I think maybe that would have been, because Arkansas jumped out 17-0 on Kentucky. Let's all remember that, or 13-0 on the Wildcats, and then from that moment on, just man, it was like a car running trying to get across the country on a fourth with a tank of gas at the quarterback position. This never worked out. And I think that at that moment, then if you had to ask me, when I look back on this season, it was the Kentucky game. But if you were going to take the red shirt off KJ Jefferson, it should have been that week.
I'm still going to go back. I think the Ole Miss game, because when you look at it, there's certain things you can do that can mentally help somebody or mentally hurt somebody. And you made a point to me in that Ole Miss game that will stick to me until the end of KJ's career, on how the guy from Ole Miss was a freshman, and both of them played in the state of Mississippi, and KJ was rated number 1, and Ole Miss's quarterback was rated number 2.
But I have to check that as Mississippi State. It was the quarterback that just left Fayetteville. He was number 2.
It was the Mississippi State guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even with that, I still think KJ, that was a position for KJ to be in his home state,
right?
Regardless of the matter, to come out where he has a crowd, he feels familiar. It's the first game of the season, and I'm not even saying he had to start the game,
right?
But I felt like that was a chance that you really could see, and you wouldn't have the question mark what he could do in a game environment.
Absolutely,
that's at the end of the season. You could have sporadically used KJ to bring a spark throughout the season. Yes, you would have burnt his red shirt, but I do have to agree with Mr. Terry Roy. You would be probably most likely bowl eligible. Right?
Oh, without question. And that's why I said there's going to be so much added pressure now on year 3 for Chad Morris. If he, does skate on into year 3 and there's no significant alterations at the conclusion of this season, I mean, that's all contingent. Now you have to go bowl eligible next year. I mean, it's bowl or bust in my opinion. For Morris and this entire staff, if any of these guys are going to be here, it's bowl or bust after year 3. And I think with the way college football is and the way it is on the business side, because it's a business. I mean, yeah, you get those 15 Saturdays, but after those 15 Saturdays, there's a whole bunch in them other 300 and some odd days in the business world for your university and college football and in college athletics that you have to take care of, and coaches got to take care of their parts. Because coaches are being largely compensated. Let's make no bones about it. I mean, these guys are getting paid millions to continue to bring in millions. And when your millions that you are supposed to come and there, millions being paid out and not brought in, what does that mean, Demetrius? Eventually, business got to close.
I agree.
And nobody, at particular University of Arkansas, is going to be in the negative on anything. So I'm just being blatantly honest. I mean, it's bold or bust in my opinion. But we're gonna step away and be right back because there's a big game happening in the SEC. Oh, where's that game at this weekend, Demetrius?
What's that?
That big game that's taking place that all the United States, if you're a college football fan, will be tuning into.
Oh, in LSU.
That thing's in Tuscaloosa. That's right. Next up, we're going to have Touchdown Alabama, Stephen M. Smith. We got to get down to Tuscaloosa, and let's get some of the tidbits. That thing's about to erupt in a couple of days as the number 1 ranked LSU Tigers creep in to Tuscaloosa to take on Big Bag Nick Saban and the second-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. And then at 1:45, we like to get the side of both stories, especially when it's a big story like this. Josh Lemoyne of LSU Football Truth. He's going to give us the way to Bayou Bengals. Coach O. Orgeron in that bunch. We're going to get all of it. It's coming up. But we caught up with Arkansas's head basketball coach, Eric Musselman, as he started the Muss Bus there in Barnhill, Bud Walton Arena, as they prevailed 91-43 over the Rice Owls. And we caught up with what he had to say, and then we'll get into it. We'll talk about that big one, 1 versus 2. That's all coming up here on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
To start off saying congrats to the soccer team on their win today against Ole Miss, and want to wish them luck tomorrow. It's huge for the athletic program what soccer's doing right now. Regarding tonight's basketball game, really proud of the effort that our team showed on both ends of the floor to score 91 points. And when we're still trying to figure out kind of who we are and what our identity is. And we had 21 turnovers. If we could have 10 of those back and get a shot on goal, maybe we score a little bit more. Defensively, I thought we were locked in. Probably only had 3 or 4 defensive, missed assignments, which is very few on an opening night. And I think the count on our passes was right around 254 when our goal is 200. It's the most passes that I've ever had a college team have. So really good ball movement. They shared the ball. They had fun. They competed. They played with energy. They played with effort. They played with enthusiasm. So I'll take any questions.
Hey,
Surprise, Bob.
Hey, Eric over. Hey, I know you had to put out some bad news for the game about Connor and Reggie, and how good was it to see the team go out and respond with it?
Welcome back. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Wednesday edition of OTH, and we like to talk about the big ones that take place around the SEC because you know what the motto is. It just means more, but nothing means more than what's going to be taking place this Saturday in the SEC West. 1 versus 2, and that's going to take place in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So let's catch up with him, the man that's going to tell us what's Roll Tide. Touchdown Alabama, Stephen M. Smith. Stephen, welcome back, my brother.
Man, Pat, Demetrius, it is so crazy down here right now. I mean, the entire kit and caboodle was out here from ESPN to even President Trump is supposed to be here.
Boo. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry for that little comment, but talk about it. I mean, this is something I think even goes back to Hoover, SEC media days. A lot of us here in the media outside of Alabama, LSU, we saw it and started talking about it. And these two teams have done nothing, especially LSU, to keep this date set for what we thought could be the Battle of Armageddon in my estimation. Talk about Alabama and what has Nick Saban talked about they need to contain or establish offensively or defensively, on Saturday from where you sit, Stephen.
The first thing this team is going to want to establish is not having any type of penalties or mental lapses in this football game. LSU's a good football team. I get it. National media is really hyping this game up and really pushing for the Tigers in this matchup. But Ed Ogeron, Joe Burrow, the quarterback coach Joe Brady, the entire LSU staff has really put together a good season. And one of the things Alabama wants to focus on: no penalties, no mental lapses, protect the football, also protect Tua Tagovailoa in the pocket as he's coming back off of a tightrope surgery that he had to fix up his right ankle. So Tua will draw a lot of attention in this matchup, but being able to play clean, mistake-free, sound football, your best football, that's been the focus for Nick Saban. Play your best football.
Now, it's very important, and that I think in games like this and in the past LSU-Alabama game, the running game, just like when you watch last week in the world's largest cocktail party between Georgia and Florida, it seems like always a team that can run the football and stop the run. And I guess, Stephen, I can say that's just how it is in the SEC with it being the line of scrimmage league. How important is it that Najee and those running backs, know that, and also to throw in, this is a very, inexperienced to a certain degree offensive line. How important that they can start establishing that running game so that Tua and those wide receivers can really make the plays that they've been making.
This is going to be a big week for the run game. This is an offensive line, Pat, that's growing week by week. The guy I'm looking forward to in this matchup is Alex Leatherwood. This is a money game for him at left tackle because you got to understand every NFL scout is going to be at this game.
Right.
And Alex Leatherwood right now is being looked at as a fringe first round to early second round guy. And for you to be able to convince scouts that I'm worth the first round pick, he is going to have to protect on that left side in terms of Tua, but also create those big holes for Najee, for Brian Robinson, and the rest of the gang to get through. As much as people want to talk about the passing offenses of both teams, I look at the running backs: Clyde Edwards-Helaire of LSU, Najee Harris of Alabama. Whichever one of these two can break 100-plus yards rushing, that's the team that's going to win this game. The running game is going to be very critical. Whichever one of those two breaks 100 yards plus, that's the team that will win.
When you look at this game and want everyone to know that if just tuned into our YouTube live stream or our Facebook Live or catch us on Sauced Up Radio, we're talking with Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama. And want everybody to also know this is brought to you by Lindsay & Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken. When you flip it over, this has been not to the degree, Stephen, of the Alabama, defenses that so many people across the country, and in particular SEC fans, have been so accustomed to seeing. How important is it? Because this is a different LSU monster offensively, with Brady being that young, creative offensive coordinator, and then Joe Burrow playing up to that same level. When you talk Heisman candidates, he and Tua are two of those names everybody talks about burst out of their mouths. How important is it defensively for this team to don't you think they're going to have to play their best defensive football game to hold serve at home this Saturday?
Absolutely, and the same thing I said, Pat, on offense is on defense. This is a money game. You talk about NFL scouts are here to see Terrell Lewis. Can you be an animal? Can you be a monster? Can you be the type to say, you have to draft me? You look at Anthony Jennings, the same thing. You look at Raekwon Davis. Fans have to see that 2017 Raekwon Davis resurface because his sophomore year of that season, we're talking 10 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. But he has disappeared, since that performance. He's made plays, but not the explosive plays that people were used to him making as a sophomore. So this is a monumental game for Raekwon Davis. It's monumental for Anthony Jennings. It's monumental for Terrell Lewis. It's monumental for guys in the secondary: Trayvon Diggs, Patrick Surtain, Xavier McKinney, Shaheem Carter, Jarrett Maiden. they have to lock down a very good receiving core led by Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. So just like offensively, Pat, this is a money game defensively. Every NFL team is going to be well represented at this game, and they want to know, why should I draft you? Sell me on why should I draft you. And on the defensive side of the football, these guys have got to sell themselves.
Talk to us about this team health-wise. I know the Alabama Crimson Tide had an off week, which is always good. You get a chance to reevaluate maybe some injured guys, or coming out of a big game leading into the off week. You also too can decide if they're going to be a go. And also too, one of the main things when you get into this off week in such a big game, Stephen, are there going to be any type of wrinkles schematically on both sides of the ball? And anybody out, anybody coming back, where is this team medically?
Well, right now the only one that's a questionable concern is the freshman kicker Will Reichert, who has not really played since the Southern Miss game. He tried to give it a go against Tennessee, but re-aggravated the hip injury that he sustained against Southern Miss. So Nick Saban and the staff being very cautious with Reichert, but aside from him, everybody else is pretty much good to go. In terms of wrinkles, you could possibly see a few things offensively. I mean, Steve Sarkisian's been waiting to dive into his bag of tricks. He hasn't been able to do that much this season, but he's been waiting to kind of, reach down into that offensive play calling scheme and dig something out. So keep your eyes on the offensive side of the football where that is concerned. Defensively, you could probably see a few moves here and there in terms of blitzing on the edge or maybe sending an extra pressure guy. But with this being Joe Burrow, Alabama is going to try to get to him with 4 guys.
Right. Real quick, we got about a minute and a half left in this segment, and then we got to get in the caravan, Stephen, because we got to go down and talk to another guy with the second side of this big story, Josh Lamore of LSU Football Truth. But on your end, from the Roll Tide side and touchdown Alabama, give me Stephen M. Smith's player of the game, offensively, defensively, and the final score of this
offense. Yeah, offensively, my player of the game got to be Tua Tagovailoa. I just showed that he is the guy. Defensive player of the game, I'm going to go with Trayvon Diggs, the corner. I think he knocks down Justin Jefferson and has a big time performance at left corner. My final score here, LSU's going to score some points, but I thought my final score, give me Alabama 45. I think Alabama's defense does enough to hold LSU to 20, 45-20.
That's a good one, my man. And I tell you what, real quick, can you let everyone know where they can catch your next episode of In My Own Words? Because
they can actually catch that, my man, tomorrow. We're dropping 3 different segments tomorrow. Hop to it. It's going to be epic.
All right, my man. Well, hey, we'll get back with you. But today, thanks for taking time out here on OTH, Stephen.
I appreciate it. You guys take it easy.
All right, buddy. That was Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama giving us his side of this big matchup, 1 versus 2, and I think it's 2 versus 3 in the new playoff top 10 or top 25 that came out last night. But we caught up with 2 guys that are going to be really, really big parts of this Razorback and Coach Must-Bus first season of Razorback basketball. We caught up with sophomore rifleman, I should say, Isaiah Joe, and junior rifleman Mason Jones. We'll let you hear what they had to say, and then we got to get our bus filled up because we got to make it down to the bayou. Josh Lemoyne is a LSU Football Truth. He's ready to tell us his side of this big matchup. It's all up on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
For both guys, what would it feel like to just go out there and, win Eric Musselman's first game by 48 points or whatever it was?
It just felt good, to get the first game out of the way. We got the crowd into the game. We played our game, pace and space. We were able to knock down the shots and play great defense. The overall feeling was amazing.
I agree with Zay on that one. But like Zay said, we came in ready to play. We really took this week hard. The coaches stayed on us. They didn't let us relax, and they told us to take Rice like we was playing SEC team. So we was prepared, and we knew we wanted to show the hard work we put in this summer and in training camp. So we was really eager to get out here today, and I'm glad we came out with a W.
Yep.
You guys forced 3 shot clock violations, 27 turnovers, only gave up 2 threes. Just what worked defensively?
Just our intensity. I mean, everything starts on defense. You can't get your offense going unless you play defense. And the name of the game is stopping the other team. So we knew that coming into this game, if we could stop the key scorers, keep them off the glass and things of that sort, we were gonna win this game.
Just going off this weekend practice, Coach put us in a real situation of their play. So the plays they was running today, we already knew. So we wanted just to be prepared for the game and just take it serious. And we wanted to take defense serious this year since we undersized. So.
Welcome back. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, our Wednesday edition of OTH, coming to you here on KDSJ 479. And we got the first part of this big matchup in the SEC, because like I say, it always means more when you talk college football, and in particular SEC West football. So we thought we'd go down to the Bayou and catch up with the man that I'm sure will tell you, how the Bengals feel about this. LSU football truth, Josh Lemoyne. Josh, welcome back to OTH, my man.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. We got a big game coming up, so everybody's really excited down this way.
Man, talk about the temperature of this big matchup. I mean, Josh, this is something that if you were at SEC Media Day, a lot of us, that don't get to cover Alabama and LSU on a regular basis thought that maybe if these teams take care of business, that this could possibly be something that would culminate to maybe 1 versus 2, or at least a top 5 matchup. But, I mean, take us through the temperature of just the city of Baton Rouge and what's going on down there.
Look, I think at this point, everybody's excited for what Coach O's done, excited for what LSU has done this season. And we've talked about this in the past. With this new offense, really that's the big talk of the town, and it still really is the big talk of the town.
Right.
Look, the average LSU fan, not necessarily like myself or you, that I think they look at it this year when you talk to the average fan, they really feel LSU's got a chance this year. I think when you look in past years, there was a lot of, hype. Obviously, LSU's got talent every year, but it was kind of some of those empty feelings that, maybe we luck out, maybe we get a fumble here or a block kick here. But going into this year, it's been quite a while. I would probably go all the way back to 2015, maybe even to 2011, when you really talk to everyone, and when you're done with the conversation, they say, LSU, they really do have a chance this year.
Right.
They had the offense, they had the defense, and I think they go into Tuscaloosa with a real shot to win this game, especially when you look at Tua and his injury. I just read a report that Coach Saban said that Tua is still going to be a game-time decision. Got to see a little bit of a clip. I'm not sure if you've seen, but a clip of him at practice the last couple of days. Yeah, and he's human, and you can just tell he's a little tender. He's a little ginger. You can just see it. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to swing things one way, or another.
Josh, I had Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. He covers the Alabama side of this big rivalry. And my question to him was, the importance of the offensive line. We know this is a line of scrimmage league in the SEC. If you don't have the dudes, the ditch diggers, and road graders, you're not going to be very successful. But, talk about the importance of the team that establishes the running game. How big is that going to be on Saturday up in Tuscaloosa in Bryant-Denny?
Yeah, that's always important in this game, man. Establishing the line of scrimmage. I think when you could probably look back at every game LSU's played in the last 10 years, and who's pretty much won the line of scrimmage has won the ball game.
Right.
And Alabama has pretty much they've dominated that over the last 8 or so years. 2011, I think, was probably a toss-up, but after that, I think Alabama has had quite a hold on it. It's going to be important. I think LSU has closed the gap. You look at last year, I think Alabama obviously won the line of scrimmage, but Coach O spoke about it this week in his press conference, and he got that question. Where do you think LSU's at as far as winning the line of scrimmage? are you still far away? Have you closed the gap? And O said, we've closed the gap. I think we're right there. I think maybe not quite caught up yet, but LSU has closed the gap big time with Alabama. And, that obviously comes with recruiting, transfers, and just he had to go out and kind of piece this thing together. But now it's starting to come together. He's got his guys. He's recruited his guys. So, yeah, obviously it's going to be important. I don't think it's as important as 2013, 12, 11 because of these spread offenses.
Right.
I think
Good point.
you don't have to depend on it as much as we did in the past because Tua and Joe get the ball out of their hands so quick. So I don't think it's going to be, a ground and pound type game, but it's obviously going to be very important as far as who comes out the winner in this game.
Talking with Josh Lemoyne of LSU Football Truth, covers the Bayou Bengals for us here on OTH.
Yep.
Josh, I want to talk to you about something that that I think sometimes goes unnoticed. Senior linebacker Michael Divinity has decided to step away from football team. The biggest week of the season for personal reasons. I mean, my thoughts and prayers go out to the young man. But who in this upcoming week have Coach O and Aranda and that defensive staff talked about filling in for Michael? Because let's face it, I mean, he was a big part of this defense and has been for the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And that's been kind of the big breaking news. It was Tua, then this news dropped, and and I've got that question from a lot of the Alabama side, from people that don't necessarily follow it as close. What is LSU going to do? Well, look, this is where that we've talked about before on the show, where recruiting comes into play. Right. LSU last year, Coach O went and got Marcel Brooks. He's a 5-star kid out of Texas. Kind of played that safety hybrid outside linebacker role in college.
Right.
They gave him a shot at safety. He didn't quite like it as much. O didn't see him there, so they went ahead and moved him to outside linebacker about midway through the season. And he's flashed. They've used him on some specific pass plays. He's got an elite speed. He was a dominant player in the state of Texas. So you'll see him come in on packages when it's going to be a passing situation. I expect him to kind of fill that role, but you're not going to fill the void of Mike. He's been around now, like you said, for a few years, making plays. Right. He's a third or fourth round guy in my eyes. When I grade him out, talking to a few scouts, he's right around a third or fourth round guy. Now, he might slip a little bit because of that. But when you got a third round NFL talent and he's not there anymore, you got a little void. I think a guy like Damone Clark, who's played that linebacker role with Patrick Queen, you'll see them move Clark there on the outside a little bit and kind of use him as an edge guy. But Clark's a little heavier than Brooks.
Right.
So you might see Clark sit there a little bit more on the rundowns. Brooks is going to be an elite pass rusher. He's still a little light. He's a true freshman, 205, 210 pounds. So you don't want, Alabama's going to see that.
Right.
And when Alabama sees him come into a game, what Nick Saban's going to do. He's going to run a screen right at him. He's going to make him make tackles. And, I just don't think he's quite ready yet.
Health-wise, we always talk about it. You guys had an off week, which is always good. But are there any players that were out that may be coming back? Any that, I know there was that big emotional game a few weeks ago, or any players that are questionable game-to-game decisions? What's the medical report? Because you want people and you want both of these teams when you get these matchups mostly to be all hands on deck.
Yeah, the big one out of LSU was Grant Delpit. He went down late in that game against Auburn with a pretty nasty sprained ankle. A lot of LSU fans were holding their breath, but it just ended up being a sprain. Nothing was broke, nothing was fractured. So that was really big for LSU. Just being flat honest with LSU fans, that I think LSU needs Grant to be healthy to win this game. Right. If LSU's going to, he's the coach on the back end, and he's kind of like the Devin White was last year. Watch before the snap. He's getting guys in position. He's making sure where LSU's lined up. So that was the big one that most fans were worried about. But he's a go. He's going to be 100%. Coach O said. Stingley got dinged up there late in the game, but that was nothing real bad. He walked off. So look, honestly, LSU's healthy. But besides losing Michael Divinity, LSU's pretty much 100%, and we quite haven't been there all year. But they've been really strategizing for this. They sat some guys that probably could have played in some of the, the lower class games, Utah State, Vanderbilt. They sat a Rashard Lawrence. They sat a Clavion Chase on. I think because of this aspect, they know that they were going to need him for Florida, Auburn, and Alabama for this stretch. Other than that, LSU is pretty healthy, so there won't be no excuses on the LSU side if they don't come away with that win. You can't blame it on health.
Well, we got about a minute and a half, Josh, and I want to give you the $1 million questions. First, the biggest matchup in your opinion in this ball game, and then the final score of who wins. Number 2 versus 3 on Saturday in Bryant-Denny.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest matchup on both sides for me, it's going to be that wide receiving core for LSU and Alabama against those cornerbacks, especially in the slot. I think that's where LSU and Alabama make their money with a Jerry Jeudy, with slant routes, with Henry Ruggs, these quick passes that a guy like Jamar Chase takes it for 80. A guy like Jerry Jeudy catches a 4-yard pass and takes it for 60 yards. To me, that's the biggest matchup of the night. Can LSU's guys in the secondary match up with those elite receivers for Alabama? And the same goes for Alabama. Can those guys match up with LSU's elite receivers? So that's, to me, is the key matchup to this game. Whoever can, and I don't mean intercept the ball or nothing like that. I'm saying keep the guys in front of you. Tackle. I can't say much that. Make Alabama go 12 plays to score. And if they do that, well, they do it. But don't give up the big one. Don't give up the one pass for 80. And then, they all the wins out to sales. And so that's what I'll be looking for. My final score, where I have it, being an LSU guy, and they haven't won this game in 8 years. But I think if there's going to be a year that they're going to win, I think this is it. You got a Heisman Trophy quarterback. You got a guy who might go in the top 5 in the draft.
Right.
I got it 35-31 LSU winning. With that being said, I could see that being flipped 35-31 Alabama winning. I think it's going to be kind of that type game.
Right.
And I think whoever wins, the first team to get to the highest in the 30s, I think wins the game.
All right, well, my man, hey, you enjoyed the ball game, man, as we always enjoy getting that Bayou Bingo update from you. And as always, thanks for taking time out on the hill, Josh.
Yes, sir. Enjoyed it.
All right. That was LSU football truths. Josh Lemoyne giving us the Bayou Bingo side of number 1 versus number 2, or if you want to call it and be technical, number 2 versus number 3 in the playoff system's top 25 that came out yesterday, LSU and the Alabama Crimson Tide. But that's going to wrap up our show of OTH here today, our Wednesday edition. I want to give a thank you to all of our guests. I want to thank Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama for coming on and letting us know just the temperature of what's happening as the Crimson Tide prepare to take on LSU. And then lastly, he came on and told us the second part of that version, Josh Lemoyne of the LSU Football Truth. I want to give a thank you to my producer and also to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Rogers, an office location also in Fayetteville. Locomotion. It's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting, residential, commercial, anything you want to look good. Contact Corey Beck. And lastly, KDK's Chicken. It's at 989 Razorback Road. Go see Keith, Kathy, get you a plate of that love, and like it's on their building, it's not your mama's. The best chicken and waffles. What do I say? In the South. But that's going to wrap it up for myself. We'll be back with our Thursday edition and much, 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 much more Razorbacks and SEC information for you. Until then, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one, and let's get it.